Okay, before anybody comments and says this guy is clueless and doesn't know what he's doing, I'm going to tell you right now, I am clueless and I don't know what I'm doing. This is going to be the very first time I'm trying to oxyacetylene weld. I don't even know how to regular weld. I can MIG just a little, very badly, but I don't know how to weld. I've watched a lot of videos. This is my first time. If you're looking for an expert, you're going to have to go somewhere else. But if you want to see somebody try to do an oxyacetylene weld for the first time, stick around. Yeah, I couldn't get a good weld on this to save my life, and I couldn't figure out why, so I just said, hopefully that'll stick together. Well, it didn't. It only lasted for about, a day before the weld broke. It's and you can see there's metal on this side and this side. So what my game plan is to do is try to take and use that metal there as kind of like a filler rod, and this metal on this side for the filler rod, use this oxyacetylene, acetylene, and hopefully weld this thing back together. Okay, so here's the tip that comes with it, and that's a 0. But since I am going to try to weld, this is like 3/16. Well, I went on and bought a pack of 3 of these welding tips for it, and it's a number 3, a number 4, and a number 5. And so we're going to use the number 4 because this is right around 3/16, and the number 4 is the one that says 1/4. So let's give that a shot, see if we can weld something. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do now is, it goes for 1/8 of an inch metal thickness to 1/4. So this is about 3/16, so it's between those two. So I'm going to go with the higher tip, which is a 4, and it says set the oxygen pressure between 4 and 6 and the acetylene pressure between 4 and 6. So I'm going to do that now, and just watching the guys on the internet, they turn the acetylene on, okay, just a little, not, a half a turn, and then you want to open up the gas on here, and I'm going to set this to about 5 psi on here. So I'm going to turn it in. I can hear it flowing out. There's 5 psi, and I'm going to turn this off now. And when I turn it off, it shoots up to about 8 psi on there. And now the next thing I'm going to do is turn on the oxygen. And the oxygen, start off with the bottle. So turn the oxygen bottle on. And the internet says you're going to open this one most of the way, or all the way, it says. Okay, there that is. And now I'm going to open up the oxygen here, and I'm going to turn this up to about 4 to 6. So I'm going to take this one up to about 6. The gauge is a lot different on this one. So there, I hear it. There's about 6. And we'll turn that off. Okay, so we should be set to weld now. Okay, so I do believe this is cast metal because it did break in half, and this is the MIG that I had stuck on the top and the bottom, and it didn't stick, of course. So what I'm going to try to do, since this is cast, is heat up the whole thing. I think it's cast, that is. Try to heat up the whole thing, and then I'm going to try to melt that into that and see how that goes. I've got it lined up perfectly. There is a slight bevel in there in the interior where I had tried to bevel it for the MIG, but let's see if we can do this. I know there's a little paint still left on it. I did some wire wheeling right around the weld itself, but I know it's going to make some fumes, so I've got my respirator, and also I've got the eye goggles for it as well. So what I'm going to do is start it, try to get a neutral flame, and go from there. Now remember guys, I don't know what I'm doing, so the neutral flame setting is just from watching videos and looking at the manual. So if you think that it's not neutral like some guys have done, I'm just doing the best I can. Now, one of the techniques I've seen on YouTube is where you take and turn the acetylene on until most of the black soot stops, and that's when you start adding the oxygen. And then you're going to bring that inner cone to touch the tip of the other inner cone, and that's when it's supposed to be neutral. And again, like I said, I've never had any lessons on that. It's just what I've watched people do, and so I'm doing the same thing. So once I got the whole plate heated up, I started heating up one area of it and saw a molten puddle, and now I'm just going to try to manipulate that puddle. And I think that turned out pretty slick. And so now I turn the piece over and I see that there's some black slag up there, so I'm just trying to blow that off first before I start heating the area. And now you'll see I'm going to try to get part of the puddle off of the base metal. And once I can get a molten piece of base metal, then I'm going to start coming up to the old MIG wire and try to make it all fuse together. And now I'm going fine and dandy along here, and then something pops and the sound changes. I thought that maybe I had hit the oxygen knob somehow and turned it, but I have no clue. I still don't know why that changed. Okay, so now I switched the vice grips to the other side and going to finish up the last little bit of it. Well, I have to admit, there's something so cool about watching that metal turn to liquid and then moving that puddle of metal around. It's super duper cool. And now the other side, which is the last little part. Just going to get that fused in and see what we get. Okay, so I turned it down like you're supposed to. I mean, turned it off like I was supposed to. I turned off the oxygen and the acetylene. I turned on the handles there, let it bleed down there, and I've opened up both of these valves all the way so there's no pressure. So she shut down right. And guys, I think that I might have stuck those two pieces of metal together. I'll show you what I've done now. Okay, so in order for things to cool down slowly, I've stuck it in this this oven at 450 degrees, and I'm going to let it sit there for a while, and then I'm going to start slowly cooling it down, and we'll see how this goes. That one little hole, I wish I'd have had a little filler rod. I could have filled that up. But let's get this wire wheeled and see what she looks like. Okay, so here she is now. That is definitely stuck together. Now I'm going to do some grinding and painting. Not beautiful, but it is stuck together. Now we'll paint it. Okay, and here it is. It's all done. I'll be shipping this off to NASA to be, it's a critical part to go back on the space station. Or I'll be giving it to my neighbor to fix his lawn chair. You choose. Anyway, guys, I really love this sort of welding. And hopefully, I plan on doing some more. When I do some welding on some other projects, I'd like to use this again because it's really cool controlling that little puddle and moving it around. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.